Hello, hello, sir.
Hello, Colleen.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty damn well.
That is most excellent because we'd like to say hello and welcome to Transylvaniacs, the endless and perhaps fruitless quest of two friends to watch as many Dracula adaptations as humanly possible.
Every episode, we try to watch every Dracula adaptation from Dracula A to Dracula Z, except for this episode. This episode, we're doing another thing.
This episode, we are not watching shit because, basically we did a good chunk of episodes at the front of this and are going to be taking a short break for the holidays. So we figured before we start our next, chunk of movies, we would do a, wait for it, mailbag episode where you can ask us questions about the podcast, about Dracula, or, frankly, fucking anything.
Yeah, and you guys really delivered. We got a lot of questions for this episode. A lot of very good questions, too.
Which I'm very excited about. A lot of them I was like, all right, I'm going to look at these beforehand and just think about my answers a little bit. But obviously I did not do that. I thought about exactly two of them.
I have one that I have a very in-depth answer for. Everything else is sort of off the cuff.
Yes, and I know exactly the one that you were talking about, which is also one of the ones that I used my little noggin for. The rest of them are going to be totally using my less little butt. Heyo. Anyway, first of all, thanks to everybody who has listened to the damn podcast and sent us a question. That was really nice. And I think this will be kind of a fun way for us to wrap up our first chunk here and give you all a little treat for the next couple of weeks while we take a holiday break and record some episodes so we can kind of get our backlog in order. You want to just fucking dive right into this thing? Okay, so first up, we've got from Ben. Hello, my question for you. With all the foreign adaptations you've watched of Dracula so far, is there any specific country or culture you want to see adapt the Dracula story? That's such a good question. What the fuck? Why do you people have such good brains? I would have been like, which movie worst?
How does the Dracula fly?
How many Draculas are hiding in this room? Which was the question that my wife said she was going to submit were it not so esoteric.
Blink if they are in the room with you right now.
Are the Draculas in the room with us right now? Anyway, is there any specific country or culture you want to see adapt the Dracula story? I'm sure this exists, and we're going to have to look for it. On our list for later is a Japanese adaptation, which I'm really excited about, but I would like to see specifically a samurai Dracula.
Oh my god, yeah.
Wouldn't that be fucking awesome? I'm sure it exists, and if it does, please just harass us about it on social media, but
please send it to us right away.
That is literally Will and Colleen bait. Nothing has screamed that we should watch it more than a samurai Dracula. My wife plays Guilty Gear Strive, and there is a character who I believe is a black vampire samurai, which is fucking awesome. But we're gonna need to look around for that, because that's my answer to that question.
I would love to see a Bollywood adaptation of Dracula. I have searched. We found some that look like they're vampire movies that I think through translation ended up with Dracula in the title, whether or not they're actually adaptations. But I think that is such a specific kind of film presentation, especially if it's a Bollywood musical. I would love to see that so much.
Holy shit. Yes, that would be amazing. I haven't watched a lot of Bollywood, but I have seen enough, and I have a couple friends who are very into it, and you are completely correct. Musical Bollywood, the story of Dracula would be absolutely batshit crazy. And then our next question here is from Aaron. He's got kind of a 2-in-1. First of all, what drew you to Dracula as a franchise? I don't know what else to call it other than a franchise in reference to all of the adaptations collectively. And what do you hope for from the future adaptations? The adaptations of the future, if you will.
With robots?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I was like, I would be down to see like Robot Dracula, but I think to answer the first part of that, what drew us to like this story is A, the sheer volume of different takes on the story, I think was kind of appealing, and kind of just got the wheels turning for us. Like there's a lot of material out there in a lot of different ways, so I think that's part of it. And the second half for me is that we talked a little bit about in the first episode is I just think it's like a cool story with a lot of atmosphere and you can do a lot with it. Like it's at the same time very strict in its plot and presentation, but there's a lot of wiggle room for other media other than like the specific novel, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a movie that's been interpreted so many different times over by so many different cultures, and every time it's remade, it reflects the culture it was made in. It reflects what's on the mind of the collective conscious. You know, whether that's like the pandemic of the Spanish flu with Nosferatu, or you know the looseness or the loosening of ideals around sexuality that you start to see in Horror of Dracula, which we definitely haven't watched yet. But I think the fact that it's a story that keeps getting retold and you learn something new about the culture that made it every time you remake it is incredibly cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then what do you hope for the adaptations of the future? That's a good one. I kind of would like to see a contemporary adaptation that is like set in current day that isn't like fucking goofy. You know what I mean? Like there's some contemporary-ish Draculas from the like early 2000s that are as noted fucking goofy. So I'd like to see one that's like set, you know, present day that is set in, you know, maybe in the West. I'm just kind of curious about what that would look like and how you could kind of fuck with it. Like I'm almost picturing fucking Oscar Isaac's mansion from Ex Machina as the castle. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like
my
something where
god,
you're
that'd be
isolated.
so sick.
Right, like you're isolated. You know, he could be like a kind of eccentric billionaire type. Like there's a lot that you could do there that I don't think has been done. And if it has been done, it has not been done well.
Yes.
What about you, Will?
I mean, it's plain as day for me. I've been saying this from the beginning. I just want to see for more future adaptations. More Quincy Morris. Where is my
More
boy Quincy?
Morris.
Get
What the
this
fuck?
man in these adaptations. He's the best. He's delightful every scene he is in. Just elevates the material. It is just a perfect counterbalance to a lot of the serious or British high society of the story. He adds something different. He adds a contrast. Frankly, with as many American adaptations as they are, I don't know how, but the fact that we constantly made Westerns for decades, just years on end of endless Westerns, we never decided, oh, wait, just do Cowboy versus Dracula. It's right there.
It's right there. It's not too much to ask. And yeah, that is a perfect answer for that, frankly. You want to
All
take our
right.
next couple here?
Yes. All right. Our next one comes from Nina. She wants to know if Dracula is our favorite Universal monster, and if not, who is? And if so, then who is second? So, actually, to point, Dracula is not my favorite Universal monster. He's probably second. I think the first one is probably Frankenstein. Frankenstein's monster has always been a character I've held really close to my heart for years since I was a kid. I think that Bride of Frankenstein is basically a perfect movie. I think, the best of the Universal cycle monster movies, but also just one of the best movies of the 30s and of the black and white era. So I think, unfortunately, there just are not enough Frankenstein adaptations outside of the Universal Hammer and then that weird Kenneth Branagh thing to really do this same kind of analysis. But yeah, I love Frankenstein. Second is probably Dracula, and then if I'm going to give you the rest of the rankings, even though you did not ask for this, Nina, it would probably be Gillman from Creature of the Black Lagoon, because that design is amazing, Wolfman, and then Dead Last We Got the Mummy, because the Mummy is a very boring movie.
Hell yes. I am completely in agreement. I would switch Frankenstein and Creature from the Black Lagoon. I just love Creature from the Black Lagoon for some reason. It's a movie that I keep kind of coming back to. It's probably my favorite Universal movie, and then Dracula would be second, tied with Frankenstein. I love that Frankenstein drawing you have that's like done by a child. Please put it on social media because it's like literally my favorite thing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So this is from a Center for Artists who have developmental disabilities, who does a lot of paintings and drawings and sketches of monsters. And I have a painting of Frankenstein's monster that hangs above my bed that I love to pieces. It is absolutely incredible.
That's so good. But yeah, so Creature from the Black Lagoon and then tie Dracula and Frankenstein.
I also want to set the record straight when I say that The Mummy is very boring. I am referring to the one from the 30s. The one from 1999 absolutely honks. Let's be real about that.
Not a Bisexual Paradise from 1999.
Yeah, no, we can only stand that movie.
Yes, agreed. Agreed.
All right, the next question we have comes from Tom Tomorrow, aka Chase. If you had to throw a 6-year-old child into the deep end that is all things Dracula, which film or property would you start them with, and why? This is a really good question. And, I mean, the thing is, I don't know. I think, for me, it's tough figuring out, like, what's going to connect with a modern child, with a modern 6-year-old. I think the iconography of the Universal monsters was a lot more prevalent when we were growing up. I think there's like more of a push for them as these commercialized characters. Like there's like Burger King toy line that had these dope action figures. There were like snacks. There were being like snack foods that had the monsters on them.
Yes,
so
yes.
It was easier to get into those when I was a 6-year-old than probably would for like a modern 6-year-old. I feel like the way in is probably, for a kid today is probably something like Monster High. I've never really seen any of that because I think one of my cousins when she was younger was really into that. And frankly, I think that's a cool way to get a kid into these classic monsters and add something, adds a new take. I think similarly, there's the Hotel Transylvania series, which is Genndy Tartakovsky, who made Dexter's Lab and Samurai Jack. And I think for a 6-year-old, like that stuff, they already have these pieces of media that help them identify with these characters. And I think from there, it's easy enough to say like, hey, you like these? Oh, you like Dracula? Let's see what else he's in. And you find stuff that's a little more kid friendly, maybe like some Scooby-Doo stuff like Ghoul School. And then as they get older, you can start to show them, like the Universal movies. If you were raising like a weird 11-year-old like I was, you can show them Nosferatu.
That's amazing. I was gonna also say Hotel Transylvania, but also Ghoul School, because I feel like something about the animation of Scooby-Doo, even though it's evolved so much, the style I think is really appealing to kids kind of like regardless of time. Like I know children now who like Scooby-Doo, whereas some of, like you said, the 90s were really heavy on pushing like the Universal like fun and kooky branding, but I think they would find that looking like that kind of like fake retro would look weird to them, whereas actual retro I think they would appreciate, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I was gonna say Scooby-Doo first, followed by Hotel Transylvania, which I don't actually know much about as a franchise, but when you mentioned that it's the maker of Dexter's Lab and Samurai Jack, I can 100% see that, and I think that the 3D animation also might appeal to like a 6-year-old a little more than like a live action film.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's more of that out there.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Our next question comes from Adam, who asks, is Dracula Dead and Loving It on the list? And if not, why? It is absolutely on our list. We are getting there probably after we get through the more like straightforward adaptations, but we are definitely watching this movie, rest assured.
Yeah, we cannot not do it. So fear not. It is on the list. That will be for another time, but it was one of the first ones we put on there in terms of like, I think my exact phrasing was wackier. A wackier adaptation, even though it's essentially a parody, but it'll be delightful.
All right, we've got we've got our next one here from Chase again. One human and all Muppets cast in Muppets Dracula. Who are you casting and as who? Colleen, I have given this one so much thought over the last 24 hours. Can I walk you through my adaptation?
Please give me your dream fan cast for Muppets Dracula. Please go.
So here we go. Right off the bat, since I'm calling the shots with when this is made, we're setting this one's being made in my mind in about 1993. So that puts it right after Muppet Christmas Carol, the best Christmas Carol adaptation.
Agreed.
My other reason for this is because this allows me to cast an actor I think needs to be in this role. I think when you're working with Muppets, you need somebody who is going to have a sense of gravitas, someone who has stage presence, but is also gonna be able to act with Muppets. Not every actor can do this, and I think the actor who could do that the best, an actor who has played Dracula before but never on film, notably, is Raul Julia.
Holy fucking shit, Will. That is inspired. I love Raul Julia so much. Oh my god.
Thank you.
Oh my god, that's so good.
I think he would crush it. I think he would be able to have some fun with the role. Obviously, that this is a musical. We're bringing back Paul Williams, who wrote Rainbow Connection, wrote the songs for Muppet Christmas Carol, back to do the songs for this one. Can I run the rest of the cast by you here?
Oh, absolutely, please.
All right, the rest of the cast, I have Kermit as Harker, which of course means that we got to have Piggy as Mina. Homewood, I was having some trouble with because I think I need somebody who is going to be seem kind of suave, but also be kind of a goofball. I think for me, that's got to be Link Hogthrob. If you've seen the Pigs in Space.
Yes.
He's the pig with a big chin.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
There are not a ton of just lady Muppets. I Googled Muppet women in a totally normal way.
No, Will.
And so just with the available options we have, I'm going with Janice from Electric Mayhem as Lucy.
Perfect. Inspired.
Dr. Seward, I have Fozzie Bear. I have
nice.
Sort of him trying to make jokes in his sanatorium and just everyone booing him from the cells. I think you have obviously Statler and Waldorf are there as the Eternal Peanut Gallery, just maybe in the Coppola version, they have cages around their heads, stuff like that. Next up, we've got, I'm also stealing a page from Muppet Christmas Carol and doubling up a role. We have Dr. Bunsen Honeydew and Beaker as Abraham and Lincoln Van Helsing.
Shut the fuck up, Will. Oh my god, that's so good.
This is, I think, my boy. I need to save my boy for the best role. That's going to be Gonzo as Quincy Morris.
Fucking gorgeous. Stunning. I love it.
And then here's another one that's a little inspired. In a different way. I want to have Animal as Renfield, but I want the gag to be instead of him being doing his normal animal thing where he's thrashing around and making noise, I think the joke is he's got to be Book Renfield, where he's going to be very quiet and eloquent and talk in a very normal clipped voice throughout.
Oh my god, that's so fucking good.
And everyone is just weirded out by it.
Oh fuck, Will, that's so good. Oh my god. That's perfect. Oh, holy shit.
I've decided that because of the musical, we're also going to have a couple. You're going to obviously start out with sort of Muppet Christmas Carol with a "Boy, This Guy Sucks" song, and it's going to be set in the inn where Jonathan stays in Transylvania, where he's I'm going to see Count Dracula, and everybody sings about how terrible Dracula is, and I'm calling this song "Cross My Heart."
Oh my god, you're actually killing me. Holy shit. Please tell me you wrote this down on a piece of paper or something, because this is too good.
Yes, I have notes next to me.
Holy fuck, Will. That's beautiful. Inspired all around. I'm thrilled by that. We do have some overlap, which excites me. Okay, so
please.
I did not think about being able to time travel, although you are correct that early 90s was peak Muppets movie film production.
It was.
But I decided that Dracula was going to be Adrian Brody.
Oh my
because
god.
I feel like he has the exact mix of like severe and serious looking, but being just like being a kind of great comic actor.
Oh,
And
that's
he would
so
commit to the
good.
bit so hard. Thank you very much. Thank you. Our overlap is mostly in the main characters. I would also have Kermit as Harker, obviously. And then I would have Mina as Miss Piggy. So I feel like those are like obvious choices. You've got to like stick with the the Muppet infrastructure.
Muppet infrastructure.
I'm very sorry that I said that, but oh, holy cow. I also had Janice as Lucy because there is a severe lack of Lady Muppets, which I did not Google, but I'm happy that that's in your history now.
Yep, I'm sorry.
Don't be. Please don't be. I was going to have Sam the Eagle as Seward.
Ooh, I was considering him. Yes.
I know, he's so severe. I love him. And then as Quincy, I was going to have Ralph.
Yes.
I love me some Ralph. And then as Holmwood, I was going to have Fozzie Bear, just because I feel like he's always kind of like a pseudo authority figure, but doesn't really do a lot.
Yes.
And then, let's see, who do I have left here? Oh, as the brides of Dracula, I was going to have all of the chickens.
Oh my god. Ah, that's the best.
Thank you. And I really hope that somebody draws that for us. Like if anybody can draw, please do our Muppet casts for us, or else we'll have to Photoshop them, and that will take a long time and be less cool.
Please.
And then I did Gonzo as Van Helsing because I feel like he usually casts himself as the coolest character in any given adaptation.
Yeah, which is why I cast him as Quincy Morris.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll take that. And then I did Renfield as Rizzo.
Ooh, that's really good.
Just because he's kind of a twitchy little guy. But I didn't really know how to fit Animal in there, so which makes me sad. Maybe Animal is Adrian Brody in wolf form.
I had one more like joke that I know I would write into this version. And it would be like, because I want to have it be like reflect the book, but I want to have this, you gotta have the like, listen to the children of the night, what music they make. And you gotta have that line, and you have to have Dracula say that, and then it immediately pans over to Ralph sitting at a piano in Dracula's castle being like, hey man, thank you, don't forget to tip your waitresses, and then he starts playing a little bluesy number.
Oh, that would be good. Or what music they made, and then Will, we gotta watch some Muppet movies, man. It's been a minute.
It has.
I do watch a Muppet Christmas Carol every year with my wife. But I think we watched like a couple years ago. For some reason, we were in Pittsburgh for Christmas, and like I don't know what had happened, but we were both like very emotional about it for some reasons, like just like fully crying watching a Muppet Christmas Carol. I have no idea why.
That movie hits hard.
It hits hard, and it might have been 2020. Like, it might have been pandemic Christmas. I don't know. It might have been that. Who knows?
Listen,
regardless,
who among us has not gone through like an emotional Muppet phase in the last couple years?
Right?
Certainly I did.
Emotional Muppets, man. I fucking get it. That's like when we were at our friend Chris, who has never guested on this podcast at all.
No.
We were at his wedding, and I believe when Rainbow Connection started playing, you looked at us and just said, "We have to get out of here."
Yes, I knew that we had to leave then, or I would start sobbing at my friend's wedding.
Literally, you were like, "We have to leave this place right now." Oh man. Well, Chase, that was an amazing question. We've got one more from him, I believe, if you want to give us that one.
Yes. Which actor / personality who has never played Dracula would you want as Dracula? Oh boy. I was tempted. I think on a technicality this works, I was gonna go with Willem Dafoe. I think he would bring some great weird charm to the role. I don't know if technically in Shadow of the Vampire, he played Max Schreck, who's an actual vampire. That's like a movie about the fictional, about making of Nosferatu. But I feel like that's still a degree removed. He's a guy playing Dracula who just happens to be a vampire. He's never actually played Dracula proper. That's my choice.
I respect that, and I think that that is an acceptable technicality. Um, I this was tricky because I didn't want to make it the same as Muppet Dracula. So I'm gonna go with Oscar Isaac. Um,
Ooh. Oh my
I
god.
Right, like I feel like Oscar Isaac is really good at being threatening in a fucking weird way. Um, he's got such like a bizarre quiet intensity to him that I feel like this would be a good like if you were doing a straight horror adaptation, he would be great in that.
I think he could bring a similar quality that I'm imagining like Raul Julia in the role.
Yes, yes. And that those would both be high on the sexy scale too, for sure.
Yes.
Chase, those were beautiful and delicious. Also, all of you who have been following us on Instagram, Chase makes our graphics, our really cool, like retro looking graphics that we use for each episode. So fucking thank you. We will post his handle in the description so you can look at his very cool artwork.
Yeah, go buy some of his shirts. He makes incredible t-shirts.
The man's got good shirts, dude. Okay, well, this one comes from Ian. Any Dracula films passed the Bechdel test yet? No.
Does Nosferatu count by not having any words at all?
You know what? I'm gonna say yes, and Nosferatu also has one of my favorite Minas, so like, yeah, why not? Fuck it. Sure, Nosferatu passes the Bechdel test. Yeah, if we ever get merch, we'll put that on it. Somebody had mentioned something funny. Oh, the person who actually asked the next question, Andrew, hello Andrew, said if we ever get merch, we should have Nosferatu slowly shambled so Slenderman could run, which is apparently something that you said in our second episode.
Wait, I think I remember that. Yes.
So that and Nosferatu passes the Bechdel test. Will be our fucking merch for this dumb shit. But yeah, to answer your question, Ian, absolutely not. Nope. Usually there is one scene where Mina and Lucy talk to each other and it's about Dracula, so that's it.
Yep.
Anyway, Andrew, who made the wonderful merch suggestion, has asked, before starting this podcast, what was your favorite Dracula adaptation?
Oh, Colleen, did you have one in mind when you started out?
Oh man, it's kind of tricky because the answer is I don't really have one. I didn't really have one because I had seen like such kind of scattered bits and pieces. I wasn't as I just thought about adaptations very differently before we started that. Like I would have considered something like Castlevania an adaptation, even though it's like layers and layers and layers removed.
Yes.
Yeah, so, but you know, before this, what inspired this was the first season of the Netflix Castlevania. So like I'll say that, even though it's kind of a cheat. Sorry, Andrew.
Yeah, for me, and I'm going to be a broken record through a lot of the questions that come up with this one. It was probably Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
What a mess.
I think I talked about it in our first episode. I don't know if it's technically a good movie, but it is a movie that I find incredibly fascinating and just hypnotic to watch. I always have a good time with it. It is like on a list of movies that, even though they are live action movies made in America, I consider anime. Another example of this would be Purple Rain. Another would be Batman Returns. So you get the vibe.
I 100% get the vibe. Yeah, and I think that's probably my second, and that will be a very long episode. But that's up there for sure. And then we have a slew of questions from our friend Kristen, who inspired us to read a tweet at the end of each episode. Will, how about I take two and you take two?
Yeah, you got it.
Hell yeah. Very important one right off the bat. Which Dracula is the sluttiest? Gary Oldman and Bram Stoker's Dracula. He is slutting it up all over the motherfucking place.
Yes, absolutely.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Runner up, I'm going to go... Ooh, who do you think for runner up? I have to think about this a little bit.
Are we going based off the ones that we've just seen so far?
No, let's just go like in general, I feel like.
Oh god. The sluttiest Dracula.
Because if it's of the ones we've seen, it's much more limited. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm inclined to say in general.
Which Dracula adaptations have I seen? I feel like is Christopher Lee slutty? Do we want to
I
count
was
him
gonna
as
say,
slutty?
I was gonna say Christopher Lee. And I just because that movie is like the actual movie, I wouldn't know because I haven't seen it. Is like surprisingly unsexy, but like there is a notable current with Christopher Lee scenes in particular. So I'm gonna say that as runner up, following Gary Oldman.
Yeah, I think you're right there.
Hell yeah. And then let's do this next one, which I think we kind of answered a little bit already, but which adaptation are you most excited to cover?
Yeah, I mean that's Francis Ford Coppola.
Yep.
I am just
Can't not.
nakedly. This is what I'm most excited to talk about. Watch me like get up there and have like real stage fright and just drop the bag on that episode.
Oh my God, that would be horrible. No, that's definitely up there. I also I don't know a lot about this, but the BBC did a mini series in 2020 that apparently is very good. And I love a mini series. So I'm curious about that, I'll say. I'm
Yeah.
curious.
For the sake of variety, I'm also going to say the Werner Herzog version of Nosferatu.
Yes, holy shit, that's going to be so fun. We love Warner in this house. Do you want to do the next two?
Yes. Okay. What do you think each character's sign is? Okay, so that's gonna be a real tough one. Let's think about this.
Let's think about this. I mean, like, I feel like the obvious choice is that Dracula's a Scorpio.
Yes, okay. I'm glad we are on the same page here.
Yeah, we're on the same page. Listen, I love
Yeah.
Scorpios. I'm not here for Scorpio slander, but
are
I think
married
the
to
fact
one.
I'm married to a Scorpio. I have plenty in my chart. But I feel like you can stand up against the slander against Scorpios while still realizing that those stereotypes exist for a reason. So I think Scorpio Dracula makes sense. Harker, I'm gonna go with Cancer. You know what I mean? Like he's a sensitive little man, baby.
Yes. Yeah, he seems like a man who is comfortable with crying.
Yes, 100%. Mina is a Virgo, just because. Yep.
No one who is that fastidious about taking notes could not be a Virgo.
You get it. You fucking get it. Who else do we have here?
I mean, okay, let's as a Leo, I have to just invite Lucy into the Leo club. It's obvious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I completely see that. She owns it for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking good. I'm gonna say that Van Helsing is a Capricorn. He's
okay.
Yeah,
dangerous. A cat man, dangerous.
Cat man, dangerous. Run away. But he's like,
who else is going to go up against? Is going to go up against a Scorpio, right?
Exactly. And then we've got our. Let's see. We've got Holmwood, Seward, Quincy, and Renfield left. Renfield's an Aquarius. Sorry, buddy. You're weird.
Yep.
I love Aquarians, but like, listen, if somebody's going to be a weird little guy.
I feel like Quincy's probably an Aries. I feel like he's got that fire sign kind of energy about him.
Oh, I think that's a good poll. Yeah. Hard agree. And then Seward's a little bit of a mystery. I feel like Seward could be...
He could be a Pisces.
I was literally just going to say
mercurial.
Pisces. Yes, you get it. Okay. That's good. That's a good spread. I think we don't have any Taurus or Gemini. But
no, they're staying at home throughout all of this, not getting involved.
They're not getting involved. Nope, no Sagittarians. They are already they got to the castle and then left. But yeah, that was a good question. Kristen gets us.
All right, and also from Kristen, favorite non-Dracula vampire media. I can say that good. Kristen got me on board with What We Do in the Shadows, the show. I love the movie and not seen any of the FX show. And now I've only seen the first season so far, but I absolutely love it.
It's so good. I haven't seen the show either, but like from what I know of it, that you are just in it as a person.
Yeah, I am. I think maybe next year going to try and do Nandor as a Halloween costume.
Holy shit, yes. Please do. Please do. This is a really hard one. I'm gonna go with Midnight Mass, the Mike Flanagan
Oh, all
Netflix
right.
show, which I immediately pegged as a vampire show because they sneak some Dracula iconography in there. And if you're not familiar with the text, you probably wouldn't catch it, but like immediately was like, oh, this is a vampire show. But Midnight Mass, I think, is Flanagan's best by like a non-negligible amount, and
Oh, wow.
I'm a Hill House apologist.
I have
Um,
actually not seen a Midnight Mass yet. Now I'm very excited. Like, I have to go
ooh,
back. Yeah.
oh,
I
please go ahead.
love
Like,
a
sorry,
lot
I
of the
spoiled it.
Flanagan. No, that's all right. Now that I know it's like vampire media, I am actually really invested in it.
It's really good. It does have Mike Flanagan monologue disease, a fatal but li- condition you can live with. I was actually going to say a incurable but not fatal condition, but then fatal came out, so there it is. But it's good. I think Hill House is really fucking good, but has a couple of really weak episodes, similar to like Bly Manor. Oculus, I could talk about for a very long time as to why I liked it, but it's probably the bleakest movie I've ever seen,
Oh, God.
and it's
Movie
so
ruined
fucking
me.
bleak. But Midnight Mass is, I think, his tightest narratively. It's a little shorter than some of the other series, so there's less time for him to like fuck around and lose the plot.
Yeah. Okay,
And
cool.
it's a good mix of like, small town, isolated, supernatural, a lot of stuff about like alcoholism and AA, a lot of weird Catholic shit. It's good. You'll like it. You'll like it.
Okay, well, we're also like throwing in like weird small town and alcoholism and all that stuff. I'm also going to throw into the mix Salem's Lot. I love the
Oh,
book
yes,
Salem's Lot.
obviously.
The 70s movie is a lot of fun, even though it's aged in some ways. There's supposed to be a new version coming out in like 2 months, and there are no trailers or real like images of the cast, which has me deeply concerned.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, what the fuck? Are we sure
Yeah,
it's
there's
coming out
just
in
like
2 months?
I think it's supposed
Oh,
to,
boy.
but
Oh,
there's
boy.
just like really no information about this thing coming out yet.
The last time I, was following media that kept the cast secret on purpose was live action Cowboy Bebop, and we know how the fuck that went.
Oh, God. I mean, the cast list is out there, but there's just like there are no set photos. There is
God.
no trailer yet. And that just you'd think there'd be something. You would think if you went to the IMDb page, there would be more than just like literally the poster is just the word Salem's Lot against a black background.
Is that what you
So
photoshopped the Swedish Chef onto?
no, that is from that's from the 70s movie.
Got it. Just checking.
Yes.
Uh, which is an image that I will forever cherish, frankly. But yeah, good questions, Kristen. Thank you for filling the shit out of my inbox. Next up, I have a question from Kale. Would you let Dracula drink your blood, and if so, which one?
Would you let Dracula drink your blood?
And if so, which one?
Yeah.
I mean, like, man, we're gonna get into like a real existential quandary here. The answer is gonna be no, but I would really have to think about it.
No with a butt.
No with a but, exactly.
Yeah.
Like a really, like, it would really pain me to do it, but I'd be like no because I'd rather not like live forever because that sounds horrible. But well, actually, you know what? She didn't say turn you into a vampire. She just said drink your blood. So fuck it. Why not? Sure, hit me up. Probably doesn't feel terrible. I like a little pain. I don't hate it. However, yeah, like it's hard to say. And if so, which
Yeah.
one? That is the important asterisk as the end of this is if so, which one? I'm gonna go with Christopher Lee, Jonathan Rhys Meyers, and ooh, you know what? We're gonna count it because it's coming up. Nicolas Cage. Why not? Hit me up, man. You seem weird.
Yeah, I feel like it's got to be like a no with a but or a yes with an if.
Yes. Okay. That's it. That's the correct answer. You said that in 5 words when I said it in like 35.
Yeah, and I
go.
feel like if it's gonna be anyone who's just gonna like probably be Bela, I guess.
Oh yeah,
feel like-
you're a man of the classics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't turn down Bela Lugosi, but I also feel like I'm doing the thing where I am 100% doing the thing that the book does, which is just conflate all of this in sex. So if it's sex, sure, I'd fuck Bela Lugosi. Anyway, Kale, thank you for that unabashedly horny question.
Not
This
the last
one
unabashedly horny question, I should say.
No, we've got a couple of good ones. This one comes from Cosmic Workshop. How would you adapt Dracula to a modern movie? I feel like I answered this a little bit before, but like I'd really like to see a Dracula that uses contemporary technology to like tell the story, like as opposed to, I'm sure this has been done, but as opposed to, you know, collecting letters and telegrams and shit, like I'd like to see a collection that's like using technology and like you know, Instagram Dracula would be like kind of unbearable in theory, but I like the idea of even some kind of like game where, you know, like a Hypnospace Outlaw situation where you're looking at websites and kind of picking things together that way. I think that could be fun. That's how I would do it.
Yeah. I'm terrified that somebody's going to see this idea and they're going to do TikTok Dracula.
Oh
somehow.
no, please don't.
But you said exactly what I was going to. I like the idea of you taking that epistolary format of the original book and translating that into a modern sensibility using modern media, especially if you're like putting out some emails, putting like some, like, I don't know. I love to see like, and this could easily become very cringe, but like do like a Reddit thread of people like discussing like,
Yeah, no, that makes sense
a weird
to me. Like,
trip
that's cool.
they took to Transylvania.
Like that would be really cool. And like that's something that like I feel like if you anybody who's taking my wife's narrative and technology class, you know, like I feel like I'm giving you a free homework assignment. So if you happen to find this somehow, like there you go. Like that's from Will. There's your Reddit thread Dracula. Consider it done.
All right. Our next question comes from John, who asks, favorite final girl?
Oh, that's like really hard, but I'm gonna have to go with Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween. How could I not? Classic.
Yeah, I mean that is such a clear choice. For me, I think it's probably got to be Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Also a really good choice. Like that's up there for sure. Like that's in the triple crown of that era of horror, which is Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. Like those are the big three. So very good choice there.
I think Heather Langenkamp just is so great in that role.
She really is.
I love that she comes back in Dream Warriors, which is the best one.
Oh my god, I forget about Dream Warriors all the time. Holy shit.
Yeah, I think it is definitely Nancy. I'm also gonna give a shout out to, I think it's Marion from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love that final image of her just like sitting in the back of the bed of a truck, splattered with blood, like crying and laughing hysterically. It is such a mood.
It's very, very iconic for a reason. And then my like kind of cheeky answer to that would be oh god, I can't remember this guy's. I think it's Fran Kranz, who is in the Joss Whedon Cabin in the Woods, who is the stoner character who survives when he shouldn't, and kind of winds up being the secondary final girl. He's great. I keep wanting to call him Topher because that's his character in Dollhouse. But yeah, that guy.
All right. We got another one from Chase. This is, okay, so you wake up as Dracula. What kind of Dracula are you going to be, and why?
That's so good. Extremely goofy. I would be I would be a very grandiose Dracula. I feel like if you wake up as Dracula, you gotta have to commit to the aesthetic a little bit. So I would go like full haunted castle, like big cape. You know what I mean?
Colleen, this is why we are friends, because this is exactly what I was going to say.
Oh, good. Yeah. See, that's the fire sign. I don't actually like shockingly don't have any Leo in my chart, but like I don't mind excess. All right, we'll do it. Why not?
This goes back to like also like I've been asked what kind of supervillain I would be, and it's that same kind of thing. It's all about the aesthetics of having like a giant castle somewhere in the Carpathians.
Yes.
It's like the same. It's also part of the same reason why Doctor Doom is the best, where
Yes, he's
just
committed.
like brooding in a giant castle, usually holding some sort of goblet as you like stand by a giant fireplace. I mean, that's living the life.
That is 100% living the life. The other my other answer to that would be like a kind of like Mike Mignola style Dracula, who's like very spooky but like a little grittier in a way. I would also love to see Mike Mignola do more vampire stuff.
Oh yeah, I know he has a series that he's done with a couple other artists who for vampires there's I think it's Lord Baltimore,
That
which is
sounds right. I
yeah.
haven't looked into it. He's also done so much stuff. I like keep losing track of him, and then I'll see something, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, what you're still making? Jesus, hell, Mac.
Yeah, Baltimore is like a whole series that is like separate from the Hellboy universe of like a British soldier who like loses a leg on the field of battle in World War One and encounters a vampire and then like commits the rest of his life to fighting vampires.
Cool.
There's a cool novel out there and then a bunch of comics, and I've only read the novel and one volume of the comic. But yeah, that's a whole expansive universe.
That is wild. But yeah, that's my answer to that question. This one is another unabashedly horny one from Roger. And I think there's a typo in this, but I'm gonna leave it because it's funny. Drag you most want to bang, obviously. Anyway, the Dragula I most want to slam in the back of. Anyway. We kind of answered this a little bit earlier, but definitely Bela Lugosi's up there. I feel like there's something about the look that's like kind of sexy. Also Jonathan Rhys Meyers, even though his whole adaptation like fucking sucks. I would actually not have sex with Gary Oldman Dracula though.
There are a couple different versions of him. I think even when he's like at his sluttiest, walking around London with his like long locks and his top hat and stuff, he's giving a little bit too much pickup artist.
Yes, holy shit, yes. It hits the David Blaine. No, I mean,
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, it's probably Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, I should have just said that too. Like, you kind of can't go wrong with Christopher Lee, man. But yes, Roger, there's the drags we most want to bang. Thank you for your saying what the others wouldn't. I appreciate you.
All right, we've got another one from Adam. Another one, if I'm allowed. Opinions on Bill Skarsgård being cast as Count Orlok. This is, I think, for the Eggers adaptation.
Yes.
That is going to be coming out. I think this is a slam dunk casting, particularly for Orlok. I think Bill Skarsgård's got that kind of little freak energy, and I mean this in the best way possible.
Does. No, same. Like, I am also in agreement. Like, I think that I have mixed opinions on Bill Skarsgård because I've only seen him in stuff that he's actually too good for. Like, I've only seen him in It and Castle Rock, both of which were like not good. Because we could do, oh God, Stephen King. Anyway, but I am in agreement with you. I think in particular he has a really expressive and fucking weird face. And I think that will do wonders for Orlok.
Yeah. Orlok is a guy you just like you need a weird looking guy to be Orlok.
Yeah, you do. Like, it's the nature of the beast, man.
Yeah. I mean, Max Shrek is like truly an enigma of a person. But if you're going like you, if the next person you're like in line that you're following is Klaus Kinski,
Right, like who's a weird little guy, and then like kind of Willem Dafoe, like those are all they all have these similar kind of kind of rat man energy, and I mean that in the nicest way possible.
okay,
Uh,
so
Last question, I believe.
we got a last question here. This was literally a last minute submission from my housemate Aaron, literally like maybe 5 minutes before we started recording. This question from Aaron is, who is the weakest Dracula that could still beat Rocky in a fight?
That's a great question. Holy shit.
So, as a Philadelphian, obviously, I have my opinions on this. Now, I feel like if we're matching the weakest Dracula, the, like, bottom tier Dracula, I feel like we still, to be fair, we gotta, like, pit him against, like, top tier Rocky, at least physicality-wise.
Right.
And I think that's gotta be, like, Rocky 4, where he is, like, just a roided out super machine.
Like fucking shredded, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Turkish Dracula is like too weak. Because I mean,
Yeah.
obviously this is a guy who's gonna get into a fist fight, who's not afraid to punch a guy, but I don't think like a punch that's going to take down like a theater security guard in
Yeah.
Istanbul is not going to be a punch that's going to take down the Italian stallion at the height of his powers. So no, I say Rocky takes down Turkish Dracula in like a round.
I accept that.
But like, who could still beat Rocky in a fight?
Because like I also don't think Carlos Furias could beat him. You know what I mean? Like he's a little too goofy.
Yeah. I feel like he would try to hypnotize Rocky, and Rocky would just like. I feel like Rocky is just like kind of. He's just got like a good-hearted simplicity, just like true himbo energy that does not allow him to be hypnotized.
No. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. No. That's fucking funny. Ooh. Okay. Weakest Dracula to still beat Rocky in a fight. That's pretty good. Because Christopher Lee could, like, whoop Rocky's ass in a second.
Yes.
There is a radio drama that has Orson Welles as Dracula, so Orson Welles Dracula versus Rocky.
Oh my god.
I think that might be it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll call it on that.
Okay, yep. It's congratulations, Orson Welles Dracula. You can take down Rocky.
Wow. An honor.
All right, and then our last order of business here.
Please explain this.
By special request, Nina, who asked us one of our questions, also has asked us to review a Dracula video that she and her friends made for a English class their senior year.
Oh, holy shit.
I think if I'm gonna try and find the wording. Specifically, I think she wants to know where their Dracula fits in to our ranking of Draculas, but I feel like we should also examine the whole. Now, I asked for context. I try and do my due diligence here as the guy who researches contemporary reviews. They actually got a 100 on this project.
Wow. Good for them.
So, yeah, obviously it was a hit with critics at the time of its release. But I feel
as it should.
Yeah. And I have to say, I watched this right before we recorded. Did you rewatch it by chance?
I watched it like a couple days ago, and I wanted to say two things I want to point out. Use of music, wonderful. The scoring in this, really, really excellent, including once they beat Dracula, we get some upbeat, kind of fun, peppy music while all of them go, yay! Which I think is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Great sound work. You got like the part where like Harker hits Dracula with a shovel, and it like has like a springing sound. Like, it doesn't. Yeah, incredible work.
Oh, so good. And then I think it opens with a kind of like a Star Wars-esque scrawl with some fun surf rock over it. Really,
I think that is specifically the Munsters theme.
Oh my god, I'm just dumb and I didn't catch it. I was just like, oh, it's surf rock, but you're right. It's the fucking Munsters. But yeah, really, really well put together adaptation. I think it was really a fun way to take the source material and bring it to new life with a kind of comic undertone, some fun genre bending. And they should have gotten 100. Personally, I must
I
say.
think at one point, Dracula says of Lucy that he is going to add her to his collection of sluts, which is really just frankly, wow, what a good way to what a great way to refer to us as the host of this podcast as Dracula's collection of sluts.
Yes, I fucking forgot about that. Holy shit. Oh god, well, where would you put the Dracula, Will?
All right, I think Kirsten. I think that's Kyrstn. Kirsten.
Yes.
I think inspired choice of when we first meet Dracula to have Dracula wearing a giant witch's hat, and
it's perfect.
I think drinking a martini or just like holding a martini glass, incredible. It is bringing life, more life than Turkish Dracula. Definitely like bringing a little something different than Carlos Villarius. So yeah. I feel like if we're going to sort Kirsten into our official rankings here, yeah, I think she's got to come out like right below our 1-2 of Bela and of Max Schreck.
I am completely in agreement with you. I thought her performance, especially when being slain, was reminiscent of the Wicked Witch of the West in a way that I quite enjoyed. Yeah, fun. I would also put her there. She was committed. You know what I mean? You could tell she was committed.
Yeah. So Nina, you can let Kirsten know that she is definitively our third best Dracula.
Our number 3, our third best Dracula. And I also want to commend Nina's performance personally as somebody who's done a lot of theater with you. Well done. Amazing. Beautiful. God, we should ask if she can put this on Twitter or some shit so we can link it to people, but I don't know if she wants us spilling her fucking 13-year-old high school project, but God, it's fucking good, man. I loved it.
Yeah, as somebody who does have my college videos online that absolutely you should not search up for numerous reasons.
Yep.
I will respect their privacy here.
Mad respect. But Nina, thank you for submitting this to the oeuvre. Wonderful performances all around. Collection of sluts will also perhaps be some merch someday, and we will be sure to give you a cut on that. But that was our mailbag episode, fam.
I think that is the end of the mailbag. You can't see, but I'm shaking a mailbag.
Oh, nice.
No, there are no more letters in it. Wow, that's all the letters. Yeah, we got sent physical mail by everyone on this list. How did
they get your address, Will?
I don't know. It's very concerning.
But thank you guys for submitting stuff. We will be back after the holidays with moving into a new era of Dracula adaptations. So thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you next time.